At the time, it was an adventure. I don't think at 7 I really appreciated I was leaving home as I knew it. And then when we arrived here, we were taken straight to a refugee camp. Again, it was exciting because I was in a double-decker bus, which was really exciting. I'd just seen them in TV programs. And we were taken through London, again seeing all the sights, and we went to a camp. It was an old army barracks. I think it was quite run down. So that was home. That was our home for what we could see might be a few weeks, a few months. For me, home will always be a place where I feel safe and secure. I can be who I want to be. I think for me, because we've moved so many times, it's not a building. It's where I think I'm safe. So I would say my family home before I got married. And then once I got married, I was able to make it the home I wanted with the stuff that I wanted. I do carry a lot of stuff from Uganda physically. I still have a lot of stuff that reminds me of the feeling of Uganda and my mother in particular, of some of the stuff that she's made. This is an album that we brought back from Uganda. It's one of the few albums that have survived. At the time, my dad loved taking photographs. So somewhere, somebody has a load of our photographs. So this album has some pictures from Uganda, and it has some pictures from Kenya, holidays in Kenya. And it also has a few pictures from my parents' trip to London the year before, when they were really fearful of something happening in Uganda. We had very happy times. So there's photographs of us on some of our trips out, and every Sunday we would always have a trip out somewhere in town. This is all just photographs of London. I think my parents came back and said, we can't go and live in England, it's far too cold. And here we are. As a person who's moved around and as a refugee, those physical places aren't there for me to go and look at now. So to have the photographs would be like a memory for me. So even now, and we have the iPhone, photographs are really, really important to me. As a 7-year-old, you don't have those memories, but somehow you look at a photograph and go, maybe I do remember. That's weird, isn't it? These photographs evoke memories which may be real or unreal, but they mean a lot to me, really. And there's loads of other photographs that we haven't found. So I'm very lucky that we managed to save so many of our possessions when so many refugees leave without anything at all. I didn't know what a refugee was. I didn't know what I was. Obviously, at the age of 7, I didn't know what I was. And I would say, until a lot later on in my life, did I think, oh, I was a refugee. So to me, as a refugee is somebody who's been forced to leave their country through war, through persecution, through discrimination, not willingly. Refugees have a lot of dignity. They have a lot of strength. If somebody says to you, I'm a refugee, that's not an easy thing to say. It's basically saying, I wasn't wanted in my country, or my country's at war, I can no longer be that. And it also is sort of saying, I may be vulnerable. So at 52 years on from my being kicked out of my country, I am a refugee. But then somebody who's been who has to leave Afghanistan today is also a refugee, but their vulnerability is very different. I no longer feel vulnerable in this country, but I still feel a refugee. I still feel some kind of affinity to them, even though all experiences are different. Refugees are human. Refugees are vulnerable. Refugees did not choose the migrant status. Refugees need our compassion and care. Refugees are humans just like us. Show them your humanity. Sorry to get upset. Go and talk to these people and you realise that they haven't chosen to be here. And let's support them. And you know, it's an honour. It's an honour. I feel so lucky I have the space and the time to be able to speak to these people, help them and support them, and also share with them my experiences and say, you too can have a life here. So, you know what, you always, as a volunteer, you always get more out of it than you give, always. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to live in a community that shows compassion. Show them some humanity. If they're refugees, if they can seek asylum in this country, they will bring good to this country. So I would say that. Maybe the other thing I would add is learn your history.